For lesson 9.6.4, we're going to be finding x and y intercepts. We're going to find and graph using x and y intercepts. So we're going to be able to look at equations and figure out what is the x and y intercept. And then we'll also be able to graph using the x and y intercepts. So we've talked about y-intercepts before, but the x-intercept is the x-coordinate of the point at which the graph of an equation crosses the x-axis, also called the horizontal intercept. The y-intercept we've talked about quite a bit is the coordinate at which the point of the graph of an equation crosses the y-axis, also called the vertical intercept. So using our graphing, our grids, we can pretty easily just go ahead and make an xy coordinate plane, and then it says that we have 2 points. Okay, the x-intercept is 3, so this is the x-axis. We just need to go to 1, 2, 3. There's my point. The y-intercept is 3, so 1, 2, 3, and all you need is 2 points on a coordinate plane in order to graph a line. So right now we already have our 2 points. There we go. There's your graph. Okay, so right now notice in the directions it says sketch the graph of each line using the intercepts. So that's all we're doing is sketching. Didn't ask us to write an equation or anything like that. We just make the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. That's all you need to do. Okay, so again, let's go ahead and make a coordinate plane. Alright, and now let's go ahead and graph. Our x-intercept is -1, so this again is the x-axis. The y-intercept is +2, and now we have 2 points, so we can go ahead and graph our line. And now we're done. Okay, that's all we're asked to do for this type of problem. Alright, now we're given an equation. So read this box. This is a pretty good help here for us. Finding the intercepts of a linear equation. To find the x-intercept, plug in 0 for y and solve for x. To find the y-intercept, plug in 0 for x and solve for y. Alright, let's see why that makes sense. Alright, let's think about the equation of a line. And, alright, if we want to know where the line is going to cross the x-axis, well, look at what the y value is when a line crosses the x-axis. Okay, so this point is -1, 0. So that's why when we say x-intercept, we just say -1. You don't have to say -1, 0 because it's the x-intercept. I assume that the y value is 0. Just like for the y-intercept, it's 0, 2. We don't have to say the y-intercept is 0, 2 because when you tell me it's the y-intercept, I assume that the x value is 0. Otherwise, it would not be crossing the y-axis if the x value was anything but 0. It has to be on 0 in order for it to cross. Just like for the x-axis, the y value has to be 0 in order for it to cross. Alright, so as simple as that. If you want to find out what the y-intercept is, we can, since this is in slope-intercept form, again, y equals mx plus b. Okay, it's really easy for us to find the y-intercept. Okay, this right here is the y-intercept. So you could just right away write y-intercept equals -1. Done. We know what that is. But let's really break down why that is. Okay, it's because we're putting 0 in for x. If you put 0 in for x, well, that's 0, and y equals -1. That's it, plain and simple. So let's go ahead and do that for x, to find the x-intercept, because that's what we want to find next. Well, we need to put 0 in for y. Okay, so now we get this equation, 0 equals -3x minus 1. Well, now just solve for x, and we have our x-intercept. So add 1 to both sides. We get -3x equals 1. Divide by -3. And what we get left with is x equals -1/3. Okay, and that's your x-intercept, is -1/3. Now, it's not always going to be a nice, neat, and easy number or integer. Okay, we're not always going to have whole numbers or integers. So it's okay that it's a fraction. All right, let's take a look at what that looks like. All right, so we know how to graph pretty well now. So if you ever needed to graph your line in order to find your x and y intercepts, you can certainly do that. All right, so we have a y-intercept of -1, and we know that we're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, right 1, or up 3, 1, 2, 3, left 1. Okay, and there's your line. So if we go ahead and draw that line in, okay, it's pretty easy to see that it crosses the y-axis right here at 3. But look at where it crosses the x-axis. That'd be kind of tough for us to guess and be like, oh, that's -1/3, -1/2, -1/4. It's hard for us to figure that out. So by doing this, we actually know exactly what the x and y intercepts are, because we can figure that out mathematically right here by plugging in 0 for y and then just solving for x. Okay, we can find out exactly what it is, and we don't have to give a decimal or anything like that. We can just leave it in unrounded fraction form. So same thing here. You could go ahead and convert this into slope-intercept form if you want. However, we don't really need to. Okay, I'll show you why. Let's find the y-intercept. Well, when the y-intercept, then x is 0. So let's just put a 0 on that. All we got to do is divide by -2 on both sides, and then this cancels, and so y equals 3. So the y-intercept is 3. Okay, now let's rewrite that. It was 3x minus 2y equals -6. Okay, now let's solve for the x-intercept. So that means this is 0, and we're going to divide by 3. So x is -2. So your y-intercept is right there. Your x-intercept is right there. Okay, now if we were to go ahead and graph this, I don't even need slope-intercept form to graph it, because I already know my intercepts. So all I need is x is -2, which is right there. Y is 3, which is right there. And now I can graph my line because I have those 2 points. Okay, so this is another way to graph lines. You don't always have to use slope-intercept form. If you're given an equation and asked to graph it, you could just find the two x and y intercepts and then just plot those 2 points and graph your line, and you're done. Again, to find the y-intercept, plug in 0 for x. To find the x-intercept, plug in 0 for y. You're going to put 0 in for the opposite one you're looking for. All right, now find the x and y intercepts for this equation. Well, we have the x-intercept, but I don't see any y in my equation. So let's look at what that looks like. Some of you might remember from another assignment what this is going to look like. Okay, because we had some of those, zero slope and undefined slope type problems. All right, so if x is always 5, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move my my grid over a little bit. I'm going to do it like this. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, this is x is 5. Well, if x is always 5, then that means I'm going to have a straight line up and down like this. Okay, and if we have a straight line up and down, that means I'm not running at all. And if we think of slope as rise over run, we cannot have 0 in the denominator. So this is the equation of a line with an undefined slope. Hopefully many of you were able to recognize that just by looking at the equation and be like, oh, x equals 5. Well, that's a straight up and down line where x is 5 and the slope is undefined. So hopefully we're starting to get to the point where we can recognize that pretty easily. All right, so now we have an equation where we know what y is, but I don't have any x's in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw another ordered pair here. Oh, and I might as well go back and comment here. So the y-intercept, you would just say none. X-intercept, Well, that's 5, and we're given that in the equation. But just say none for y-intercept. Okay, so using that information, we would probably help us solve this one in the fact that we're going to say that y is always -5. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my other line right up here. And -5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. And so y is always -5, so it goes like this. So the y-intercept equals -5, and the x-intercept, well, this line is never going to cross the x-axis, so we just say none. And that's our answer and our solution for this type of equation. So if you become familiar with these, some of them are pretty easy in knowing whether there's x-intercepts or y-intercepts or what we have to do. All right, so this one, it says find the x and y-intercept of each equation and graph each line. So we have y equals 2x. Okay, now remember, the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. So right now, do I have a plus b? Okay, I don't have anything, so that means the y-intercept is 0. Okay, it's going to go right through the origin. All right, now to find the x-intercept and where that's going to cross, I need to plug in 0 for y. So if I put 0 in there, I'm going to divide by 2, and x equals 0. So that means that the x-intercept is 0, and the y-intercept is also 0. So we're definitely going to go right through the origin for this problem. Now, since the x and y-intercept are both at 0, you are going to need to use your slope in order to graph this. You're going to have to go up 2/1, because you need at least 2 points in order to graph the equation. And since both x and y-intercepts are 0, you're going to have to use some of the other information that you know. If you don't remember that that this is the slope, you know, you could just make an xy table and plug some values in, -1, 0, 1, 2, and you can get -2, and this is 0, then this is 2, and this is 4, and plot your points and get them that way. Obviously, you see here we have 1, 2, which is this point right here, and then also the 0, 0 point for the origin. Okay, if you'd like some more help with this assignment, be sure to check the answer key online that I posted to Moodle.